My grandma used to collect salt and pepper shakers, and they would depict all sorts of things, and I enjoyed looking at them. She kept them in a cabinet in the living room with glass in front, and I would sit in front of the cabinet and I would look at it. And sometimes my grandma would let me take the salt and pepper shakers out of the cabinet and look at them and touch them. One of them was, my favorite one was a TV set. It was that old style TV set like when I was a little girl. And it had the salt and pepper shakers in the top of it, and when you would switch one of the dials, the salt and the pepper shakers would pop up and you could use them. And on the TV, my grandma had put a picture of my dog, Throckmorton, and so it looked like my dog was on TV, and that was one of my favorite ones. Well, my sister got a lot of those salt and pepper shakers, but I got a few of them, and some of these are mine. These somebody gave these to me very recently, and I got these a number of years ago from somebody, but the rest of these were from my grandma's house. And I have Santas, 2 Santas, or a couple ducks, and these fish. I like these fish. And then my favorite of this collection is this skunk. And the skunk has, the pepper comes out of his head and the salt comes out of his tail. What's funny is with all of the collection that my grandma had of salt and pepper shakers, I only remember us ever having just these ordinary salt and pepper shakers on the table. Jesus talks about salt. In Matthew 5, Jesus says that we are the salt of the earth. We are the salt of the earth. He doesn't say be salt or you could be salt. He says you are. You are the salt of the earth. But he says, what good is salt if it loses its flavor, if it's no longer salty? It's not good for anything. You would just throw it out into the road. Now, what you have to know about Jesus is that Jesus sometimes would say ridiculous things in order to make a point. And to the person listening to him in that day, they would go, wait a minute, when does salt ever lose its saltiness? I mean, salt. No matter how long it's been in the salt shaker, yep, it still tastes salty. There's even one of these old ones. I don't know how long the salt's been in this one. Yeah, it still tastes salty. Salt doesn't lose its saltiness. Salt wouldn't be salt if it didn't taste salty, and you would never throw it on the road and trample it because it was very expensive. Salt was used not just for flavoring food, but it was a healing agent. It had healing properties, and so it was used in different kinds of ways to heal people. And then it was also a preservative. It would preserve meats and things. You put salt on things so that they would last because you didn't have refrigeration like we do today. So I wonder when Jesus said that to them, what he would have said to us. Would he have said that? I'm not so sure. I think maybe he would have said something like, what good is salt if it stays in the salt shaker? If you never take it out of the salt shaker? If it sits for years in a cabinet in a salt shaker? Maybe he would say that to us. Are we being a healing influence in our society? Are we adding flavor to our world? Are we helping to preserve and save our world from the forces of evil? Are we salt? Jesus says that we are salt. But what good is salt if it never comes out of the salt shaker?